Beep, 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 beep. Morning all. How the devil are we this morning? It's April the 4th. Where's April? April. Never mind April. Where's 2025? First quarter's gone already. Oh. Great to be speaking with you once again. Welcome if you're a new viewer. Oh, buckle up. What have we got for you today? Well, a very interesting thread has been brought to my attention, which ties in with a conversation that started over the last couple of days, which I think is going to be important, but I'll leave you to decide that. First of all, there's a link to a tweet thread, which you might want to have on the screen at the same time so you can follow along with what I'm talking about. And it comes from someone called Edijester Sahar at Obhishek Sahar. Edijester Sahar, who it appears to be is a professor. So thank you, Abbaset, for this important and interesting thread. And it's in reference to EDI in UK universities and the rise of an organisation called AdvanceHE. Now, I've known about AdvanceHE for a long time, and I have concerns about them, which I now am beginning to see echoed elsewhere, which is good stuff as far as I'm concerned. So let's take a look at this and see what they're up to. Before that, if you'd like to be a warrior teacher, we're starting in a few weeks' time, last week in April. So hopefully we're going to have enough people to do it. Yeah, please do come along. We need more. Other than that, buy me a coffee, subscribe, all the usual stuff that I ask you to do. So please keep me going. It's my birthday this month as well. I should have to think about what I want. I don't know. Maybe a hippopotamus. Do a Shirley Temple. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, here we are. So the rise of EDI in UK universities has been shaped, says Abhishek, by a combination of legal, intellectual, economic, and cultural factors. In this thread, I describe a key event that took place in 2005. 2005, right? The story begins in 2001 with the creation of the Equality Challenge Unit to further equality and diversity in UK universities. The main funder of the ECU was the Higher Education Funding Council for England, or the HEFCE. In those early years, the ECU largely focused on publishing guidance around legal compliance, particularly with the Race Relations Amendment Act 2000, which brought new responsibilities to the sector. Now, it was laws like the Race Relations Act that existed before the Equality Act came out in 2010. So this is sort of like the early years that's being talked about here. The ECU was due to finish operating in 2006, i.e. they were supposed to shut down. They were supposed to do their work. This all starts to sound very familiar. They were supposed to do their work and then shut down, okay, in December 2006. In anticipation of that, the HEFCE commissioned SQW Limited in January 2005 to report on and evaluate the ECU with the following brief, including whether there was a need to continue it beyond 2006. Our brief was to report on and evaluate the Equality Challenge Unit's ECU's activities and results in 2002-2004 against its business plan and key performance indicators. In other words, had they done their job? Evaluate the effectiveness, gauge satisfaction and perception of the unit's key user group and stakeholders. The use of that word stakeholders starting to creep in there. Recommend whether the ECU should be engaged in policy matters relating more generally to people issues in HE, higher education, including some student-related issues. Make recommendations relating to the inclusion of students. It's all here. Assess likely future demands on the ECU. Review the business model. Right. It's due to finish operating in December 2006. The unit is roughly 60% of the way through its extended period of operation, and it is timely to review how effective it has been and whether the unit's remit remains appropriate. Such a review also includes considerations of whether there is a need for a unit post-2006. So, has it done its job? And if so, is it doing its job, and if so, is it going to complete it by 2006? And is there a need for it after 2006, which obviously relates to the fact that it was supposed to finish by 2006. It had, if you will, a use-by date. The review considered arguments for closing down the ECU, but in the end recommended not just continuing the ECU, but expanding its remit. And then we've got the full report can be found from there, which is available online with a link. The review recommended that the ECU should refocus its activities on generating, supporting, and implementing good practice. The unit working with the management board should refocus its activities on generating, supporting, and implementing good practice. Right? See, this is where you go beyond the law. In doing so, it will need to begin with 3 questions. What will the world of higher education look like once the unit has completed its task? And what change processes can be harnessed to get closer to the desired outcome? Good practice. Well, there's the law. then there's good practice. But if good practice goes beyond the law, you've got a problem. That's when it becomes difficult. It suggested a significant new benchmarking role for the ECU. It proposed that there could be a subscription or similar model to enable good practice by universities. And here it comes, a subscription or similar model. Well, this is the beginning of these kind of boondoggles, these kind of what I would call scams, where people, have other people come in and tick boxes and tell them how EDI proficient they are. You can see that there by clicking if you look at those pictures or just the sentence that confirms that happened. This report was a turning point. The ECU decided to continue operating. A long period of expansion began. And in July 2005, the ECU introduced the flagship Athena Swan program. Here we go. Requiring data collection and policy submissions from university departments for awards. Sound familiar? In 2010, David Rubain, who is today simultaneously the EDI lead and the academic freedom lead at Sussex University, really, became the CEO of ECU. He remained CEO for the next 7 years. In 2011, Athena Swan Silver Awards became mandatory for NIHR grants, certain grants requiring this mandatory behaviours of Athena Swan. The ECU established the Race Equality Charter to improve minority ethnic representation, and in 2015, Athena Swan expanded to include all disciplines and staff. We can see here the creep of this kind of centralised, almost like a state control system across HE. In 2016, Athena Swan changed its remit to address gender more broadly and published new guidance on trans inclusion. It unfolds, as you can see. In 2018, the ECU emerged with the Higher Education Academy and the Leadership Foundation for Higher Education to create a new organisation called AdvanceHE. During this expansive period, 2010-2020, EDI practices also came under significant influence from critical social justice. The marketisation of higher education also played a role, as did cultural factors such as increased safetyism. And then you see there's an article there from Future Cities, which you're able to explore more to understand more clearly exactly what has been happening. By 2020, almost every university had built an extensive EDI infrastructure, including dedicated committees, departments, and policies at all levels. While the trans issue has brought focus upon AdvanceHE in recent years, it is important to remember that the broader problem began with the ECU many years before trans issues became a focus. Athena Swan has always assumed that disparate outcomes for human groups automatically signify discrimination or disadvantage. This is the statist socialist mind, an article of faith contradicted by ample evidence. Athena Swan Awards have incentivised universities to continually escalate their EDI measures wherever disparities persist, often at the cost of academic freedom, merit, and intellectual diversity. And it is interesting to wonder if the EDI revolution may have taken a slightly different path if the 2005 SQW report had come to a different conclusion, i.e., what if they just said they should close? None of this may well have happened. None of it. This is how it works, you see. You start off with this idea, and then the claws go out everywhere, and those claws manage to embed themselves fully into the operations, into the mindset, into the philosophy of the university or wherever it is that it's happening. And once that happens, it's the end is nigh. The end is nigh. We're seeing court cases going on, tribunal tweets covering them as usual. Excellent. This won't end until all this ends, and the only way it's going to end, I think, now is with legislation. They're simply too embedded, and we need to get them out. I'm going to continue to look at this embedded idea over the next few days, because I've got some information about it being embedded in the police, as well as more information about what's going on in academia. So I hope you join me for this, what is just going to be like an arc over the next few days, and we'll see where it takes us. Other than that, thanks very much for watching, listening, doing whatever you're doing. I've got a cough. I'll speak to you later. You have a great day. Bye-bye.